Ladies and gentlemen, this next guest of ours in the trailer this week is well known to the bluefin community. Just like Shark Week, they actually have a week for him. If this man punched you in the face, you would have to fight back the urge to thank him. He's the type of guy that on the way here today, he did an Ironman just because it was on the way. The Hawaiian flying, sumo wrestling, bluefin killing man from the islands, known as, I think his name is Kawika.
It's Kawika.
Oh,
That
shit.
was spot on.
Oh, Kawika.
Yes, sir.
I know it's Kawika. But I've always thought it was funny because there's a W in your name.
Just like how it's spelled where I come from, Hawaii. How do you say it?
Just like you said, Hawaii. How else you supposed to say it?
Hawaii.
Hawaii. Hawaii.
Vowels.
Okay.
A lot of vowels.
So Kawika.
Yes, sir.
Are you from Hawaii?
Yes, sir.
Nice. What part?
Oahu.
Never been to any part.
We'll go.
I thought about it. You know what's cool is like the military flights they have is I could take a flight from March Air Base for $10 and fly to Hawaii.
Do you have a suitcase about
Yeah,
my
that
size?
that I could squeeze you in. Yeah, it's crazy. I've never taken advantage of it, but I've always wanted to go.
Mm-hmm.
Just heard it's really expensive, and I would probably be one of those. How do you say it? How's the white people called over there? The tourists? Howlies. I'd be a howlie. Howlie. Yeah. Did you live in Hawaii? Like, did you grow up there, or like?
I was only, I think I was like 3 years old. My dad got stationed in the Marines to El Toro Marine Base
Oh shit.
when I was there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. So he was active while you were in Hawaii. He was stationed there.
Yep.
Nice.
And yeah, core to the core.
How was childhood growing up? You know, did you have a rough childhood, simple childhood, easy going?
No.
How was dad? Was he like drill instructor?
No, Dad wasn't too much, pushing us to be any kind of way or do anything. It was more my mom.
Okay.
Neither one of them ever laid a hand on any of us. It was my mom's look. That was enough.
Really?
When Mom said something, you do it.
My mom used to beat the shit out of me with a bit, like chase me.
Hey, sometimes those kids need it. I see you probably needing to get your ass kicked
I needed it.
by your parents.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I would have beat the shit out of myself too. If,
Yeah.
You know, I think that your firstborn is the trial kid.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to use what your parents did to you, to use as parenting, but yet you're at different times now, so you kind of got to develop your own
100%.
parenting skills.
Yeah.
And so you're just trying shit, and then you get frustrated, so you just beat the shit out of them and lock them in the closet and chain them to the bed.
Yeah.
You know,
Like you keep getting, lippy with me. You see that closet right there that's got a lock on it? Yeah, you start doing those things.
Yeah. Well, I remember like in public too, my mom used to beat my ass. Like that was the thing. If you got out of control, people would look at you like, aren't you going to beat that kid's ass?
Yeah.
Like, what are you waiting for?
Yeah. And it's funny because nowadays you
Oh.
switch to today
Man.
and it's like people are waiting for, you're really
You
going to beat
fuck
the
up.
shit out of that kid?
Yeah. How dare you?
Yeah.
That kid is just
I don't
acting
know.
out in common aggression and
Yeah.
emotions. And he's just displaying an art of shut the fuck up.
Right?
How about that? That's what the problem is I think a lot of people don't get punched in the face or feel what it's like to have that welt on your ass or, as some type of physical punishment to
Yeah.
your body.
Yep.
I think that's what we need to go back to. Like, I think stoning maybe in public,
It's funny because you go from like back in our days where, you got the back of the hand, mom and dad. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now it's like you look at your kid and go, all right, we're going to establish a safe word.
Right. Giraffe piss.
And my kid, my kid is so much like me. So my childhood growing up, my name was Bugs. My brother Sean gave me that nickname because I bugged. I was just that kid, you know.
Right.
We're gonna establish a safe word. That safe word is administered. That's when you stop. I'm gonna look at you. That's all that I'm gonna say. To this day, I think I've maybe said it 5 times. Immediately stops.
Really?
Immediately.
That's kind of cool. I never thought of that.
Yeah.
I just bring out the taser and just stick him in the neck.
Yeah.
Shock of 50,000 volts real quick to the jugular.
That would work too.
It's very efficient.
Yeah, that would work too.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
It's better than a safe word. Like I could come up with like I said, giraffe piss or something, and
Right.
my kids would just look at me and be like, "The fuck? We don't remember what that is."
I think if I had a son first, it would be different. But since she's my little girl,
Right.
as you know,
Oh yeah.
it's that soft spot.
What was it like becoming a dad for you?
Amazing. Really amazing.
What did that do to you mentally, physically, just spiritually? Like how were you before becoming a dad? Like were you fucking partying?
Yeah. Yeah, I was pretty wild. I like to just do random stuff, go out, surfing, snowboarding, fishing, hanging out with friends, all kinds of stuff. And then once I decided, hey, it's time to be a father. Yeah, it was an immediate switch.
Right.
Yeah, she had me at crown.
How did that? How did the separation, divorce? How did that take effect on you mentally? Not having that environment now again, coming home to the.
I had like a fuck you attitude. Like I had losses, and my business suffered from it. And at the time, because everything else was going on, and financial burdens and everything else, I got to a low point where I was like, fuck everything. Was that a mistake that I wish that I didn't make? Yeah, but we all hit those low points, and kind of looking at where we are at the time and learn from it.
That's part of the journey.
100%.
There's no book.
Nope.
And your book is different than my book, if there was a book.
Yep.
So you just have to trust that the path is the teacher.
It is. It is. That's kind of how I looked at a lot of different things that were going on in that journey. Was like, this is happening, whether it's good or bad,
Right.
as a learning session. This is part of my teaching. And I looked at it and I embraced it, and I said, hey, no matter whatever happens, the lowest low that I can get, ultimately I'm going to learn from it. And whether that result hopefully is positivity, or maybe it's going to go into even more negativity, you don't realize it until you are like stepping on the outside of it, looking in, just going, wow.
Right.
I'm going to learn from this, and then I'm, going to turn it into to something else. And it took a while. It took a good probably 6 months to almost a year to really grasp where my path was and what it is that I wanted.
Right.
And I can safely say, part of where I was in that, it got me to a point where, like, holy shit. Like, I was
like the moment, like the fucking sun came out and the clouds parted, and
yeah.
a hand came down from the sky and was like, "Come with me, my son."
Yeah.
You
And I suffered a lot of losses. I suffered loss of my business. I suffered loss of possessions that I had, and to this day, I wouldn't take any of it back, because that is part of my journey. It's part of like why I'm where I'm at today, and I haven't been more focused on where I perceive my journey to go, has not stopped for the last probably like 2 years now. I haven't like thought of more what I want, where I want to go, and who I want to be more than like my entire life.
Do you think that's caused by all the drugs that you do?
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
That's the fun part.
Your daughter was 8-ish
She was
when you went through all this?
a little over 7, yeah.
Okay.
7.5.
All right, so 7, 8 years old. How was that?
No, you're right. 8. That's
Okay.
right. Yeah, she was 8 because that was 3.5 years ago. She's 12.
How was that on her going through that whole
Um,
experience? Watching the house split.
confusing. I would say that she went through like what's going on kind of phase, and she went through a few weeks where it was like she didn't know how to really grasp what was going on. So then she became resistant towards me because her mom then perceived me as the
You were to
bad
blame.
guy,
Yeah.
right?
This is why we're living like this, because of you now.
Yep. I launched April of 2016
Okay.
is when no, I didn't launch. I'm sorry. April of 2016 is when I drew my first idea of what my product was going to be. And I had about 9 months from that time, I had started production. Like I had literal like plates that were going to be mold injected to make 900 to 1,000 units a day.
Wow.
And that was all and that was all my goal, and where I was wanting to focus my time to what I wanted to follow a passion, get involved, and I solved the problem by making a solution.
Right.
Let's see where this takes us.
Right.
See where it takes the company as a whole. And so I got involved with going a lot of sponsored trips, getting involved with just different ways that I can make what the product and what the company is all about known
And a
to
sponsored
everybody.
trip is where you go and give free product away. Is that
Yeah.
you're giving people on the boat like, hey, come on, you're gonna.
So I go on a sponsored trip. I say, hey, now I tell the boat captain or whoever it is that does the scheduling, I want to do this trip, and I'm going to bring product on, and get the product exposed, and people like free shit.
Right.
So they jump on the boat, and
if it's a pen, if it's a fucking little marker, bro, people go nuts over free shit.
yep.
It's wild.
Yeah. It could be a lure. It can be a shirt. It can be a hat.
Right.
It doesn't matter. As long as they're getting something free out of it because they're already paying for it.
Yeah.
That is.
Thanks for the hoodie.
Hey, it looks good on you, bro.
I like it.
Looks really good.
So
Hey, I
did
told
you-
you one day. I promised you I was going to get you.
And
a
I've
hoodie,
always
right?
loved it because I have like the green camo style.
Yeah.
And I love these.
Yeah.
I was gonna do like the snow camo version, and I'm like, nah,
Right.
I took that off. I was like, fuck the merch. And then you come up with this, and I'm like, duh.
Yep.
I want one.
I got you. And to this day, you know what? This is like probably 3 years old when I had these made, 3.5
Really?
years old. This is one of my original ones, and I've not like gone to a new one. The only things that I've ever changed is hats because they just get hammered. I couldn't be in a better spot right now in my life. Where I'm focused and what I want and where I want to be more than anything else.
That's good.
Yeah.
You're at your happy spot.
Big time.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's good.
Like a lot of what affected me before, and I was like, I would just switch, or I'd flip a switch and then I would react a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
in either anger, frustration, or whatever. Now it's like I think about how it's going to affect the way that I react is going to affect something else
Right.
that might not be a positive outcome.
Well,
So
there's
that-
a process now.
Yeah. I still speak my mind. Like, don't get me wrong. If I feel a certain way, or if like I can see something that I don't like,
Right.
I am going to speak my mind. I'm just going to do it very strategically.
Tactfully.
Yeah.
That's not a reaction, though, I don't think. I think a reaction is more like anger or like emotion.
100%. Yeah. That emotion of like, you know what? You just fucking cut me off. Fuck you. And then
Right.
flip people off and road rage and all that
Right.
shit.
For what?
You know what's funny enough now? I pull up next to people that do dumb shit and I literally smile at them and wave. I'm telling you right now, I get more of the reaction from people that just get fucking pissed off more because I do that
Right.
rather than flipping somebody off,
Right.
acting, in a heat of rage and doing all this shit. And I'm like,
Well, you lose control.
How am I going to gain? What am I going to gain from that?
Yeah, you lose control at that
Yeah.
point. You have no control of you.
Yep.
How long have you been fishing for? Because you're like the fucking the fishinado.
Since I was a kid, I remember this the picture that my family had where I'm in Hawaii and I'm in flippers and I'm sitting in an inner tube. I think I might have been maybe 2 years old, and I'm holding this fish that's like laid out right like on top of me, and I have this like biggest smile on my face. Obviously, I wasn't fishing back when I was 2 years old. But I remember that picture, and I knew, like, looking at that picture when I was obviously old enough to, like, have it make sense. I'm like, fuck, fishing had me a long time ago.
Right.
Like, it's, obviously generations. I'm the third, Frederick David Kamai, the third. And my father and my father's father and his father all were surfing, fishing, like live to the extreme kind of people.
Right.
I remember fishing for the first time when I was maybe 8, 9 years old. Might have been 7. Very vaguely, but then I knew that fishing really had me when I went fishing off the rocks in Newport Beach. I'm like, oh, this is fucking cool.
Right.
Then I elevated from like buddies that were like, oh, let's go fish the pier. Be hanging out all night fishing in the pier, like being all riled up for catching like these, 6-inch mackerel. Oh, this is cool.
Right. Light
Mackerel ripping line, right. 3-pound test on these little fucking, Walmart rods that probably cost us $7 or $8 and had nothing but like the time of our lives. We maybe spent $30 on our whole entire gear setup and going out there and doing our thing and going out and fishing and just having a good time. And I would say to this day, no matter what type of fishing that I'm doing, I still have that same like excitement that occurs. That same like, ooh, the anticipation, like, kid, like, oh, we're going to Disneyland. You don't
Right.
sleep the night before.
Right.
It happens every time. It doesn't matter if I am fishing 3-4 days out of the week or 2-3 days out of the month. Still to this day,
Just to get out there.
just because I know that I'm going fishing, and it doesn't matter even what we're going fishing for. It could be going off a pier or going, 95 miles offshore to go catch whatever kind of bluefin or yellowtail or whatever it is that we're going after. Still get that excitement. And I don't sleep hardly the night before, if at all.
When did you start jumping into the big dogs, the big bluefin?
So I met this one friend that took me under his wing, and he was like, hey, you know what? This is the kind of fishing that I do. It's mostly offshore. And, do you want to come out with me? I'm like, hell yeah, that sounds like fun. This was, let's see, 23 years ago? 22 years ago. And started getting into like really, heavy saltwater offshore fishing, and elevated from, catching yellowtail, dorado, and bass and all that kind of stuff, and started elevating to fast forward in 2015, where I caught my first bluefin. and haven't looked back ever since. Like,
What's your biggest bluefin so far? What's your
385.
385? 385-pound fish.
Yeah.
One-on-one.
Yep.
Now you have the rod in the holder, or are you physically holding it yourself?
I would have actually loved to take it out of the gunnel
Okay.
on that fish. At the time, I was commercial fishing with another guy that he takes it very seriously, to a point where, like, he asked me to not take it out of the gunnel, because then we couldn't control that fish by using the boat, the gear, and our knowledge to be
Gotcha.
able to catch a fish, to that class.
Well, that's because technically you're catching that to sell. That's a profitable fish.
Yeah.
You're trying to make money with that fish.
Yeah.
That's not just a recreational. We're out fishing.
No.
Oh man, we'll get another one.
Yep.
That was like, that's our fuel, motherfucker.
Now, and reverse back to 3 years prior to the date that I landed that one. That was 385. The first super cow I had put on my boat, we had already landed 2 other bluefin that were in the 170 to 240 pound weight class, and I put a 305 on the boat later on that day, after we had already put several fish on the boat. And that first super cow was so humbling. I never put that rod in the gunnel, and I fought that thing stand up the whole entire time.
That's insane.
It took me around the boat about 7 or 8 times on my boat. So this is back when I had my 25-foot Grady, and took a few friends out and said, "Hey, you guys, let's go catch some bluefin." Cool. I brought 4 flyers ready to go. I was doing the whole like kite balloon thing, sent it. I had, I've been fortunate enough that a lot of the guys that I have went either sport boat fishing with or private boat fishing with, that have like, hey, help me out, and gathering information and just cracking out on like how to outsmart these fish.
Right.
Because you're not talking about 20-30 pound yellowtail. Like, you're talking, these fish do not stop. They're strong. They do 50-60 miles an hour, and they're the strongest fish, and they do not give up. You have to break their will.
Right.
You don't break their will, they're going to take you for a ride, or you're going to lose the fish.
Describe to those listening that when you said flyer, what's a flyer?
Flyer is our terminology, what we call a flying fish. So if you haven't seen it, it's actually like a fish that takes off from the water, and then they fly, and they usually go, anything between 20 yards to, I think they've literally flown.
I've watched some
like 300
fly into the sunset.
Yeah, like 300 yards.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Right.
you're just like, wow. Or you're doing 25 knots, and they're literally 40 feet from the boat, and they're flying 5-6 feet up in the air, and they're following you for a good 20-30 seconds. Well, I mean, that's got to be at least 300-400 yards.
Are you using frozen? Are you using artificial stuff?
At the time, at least on that trip, I was using artificial. I was using live, because nobody had anything that was artificial that looked exactly like a flying fish.
That's out now.
That
Like-
is
like
out
there
now.
is-
Yeah, that you can find everywhere. That
Right.
now they're eliminating the fact that you don't have to go catch these things or pay $100 for a 3-pack
Dude, I've
for these
seen
flying
that.
fish. It's fucking expensive.
Right.
But I commend the guys that go out and go do that, because I did it one night, never again.
Really?
I can tell you right now, if I wasn't on a multi-day trip and we had more time to do it, there's something about the same thing, like taking your own boat, going out on a mission, like gathering information from anywhere that you can, looking at water temps, looking at windy, looking at chlorophyll in the water, where the bait's traveling to, like all those things, and you put all those elements together alongside what you're about to go do. Like you're setting yourself up for a battle, right? There's something about gathering all that information, going out and executing it, and that first time that you send a flying fish that's all rigged up, that's fucking literally a frozen popsicle,
Right.
and you're setting up everything, learning from the time that we were sticking, shish kebab, fucking chicken
I was gonna
skewers.
say, yeah, you're putting skewers to hang the wings
to hold their
out
wings out to make them look like they're flying.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And binding a massive, 8/0 Jobu hook and a 5/0
Right.
treble hook to the body, and trying to make all of that work, and you're moving the boat in a specific direction, trying to get the wind to push it up and away from the boat, because as we know, obviously bluefin are smart. They don't come anywhere near the boat. So the further away from the boat that you can get them, you're basically outsmarting them. That whole experience of setting all of that up and sending that first flying fish out on the kite and getting bit, it had me at the first one. I was like, what the hell just happened? Like, that is pretty crazy, because in the wild, some guy in Mexico or whatever saw this happening, saw that they eat flying fish, or saw like obviously filleted a fish that they caught in some way, shape, or form by somebody else, and like, oh my God, there's flying fish in their stomach. Long time ago. I don't know exactly when that was, but when they realized that these things are eating flying fish, and it's a commonality that they eat these flying fish, and that you have a higher probability of catching a bigger bluefin tuna on that than you would regular, like, bait and line.
Right.
Well, bluefin are smart. Their fucking eyes are massive. They're the size of our damn earphones. And they see fishing line. So you're not getting away with, I would say, maybe max out at 130, where a fish is going to bite a mackerel that's either slow trolled or on a bait or whatever. You're going to be at max that, because, when they see in the spectrum of like 100 feet and above, bluefin, they're typically coming up to that because of, the thermocline or the bait, lines of wherever you want to, look at that. And they come up, and the probability of you catching a 200, 300, or 300 plus pound tuna on 100 or 130 pound test is pretty unlikely that you're going to land it.
Right.
Pretty unlikely. You can, like, you're going to be sitting there, you're going to be fighting that fish for, I've heard stories of 6 and 8 hours
the whole day.
Yeah.
And no one else is fishing at that time.
No.
Everyone's just watching.
It's all hands on deck, and like nobody else is putting lines out. If you're not hooked up, like, don't put a fucking line out, kind of thing. And so then
I'd be pissed.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I'd be pissed.
I've gotten there, and I'm like,
Fuck
bro, this fucking guy's fishing with 60 pound.
Fuck this dude.
Who's got a fucking, a Gatlin weight with a hook on it, or a blade on it. That's kind of, I've had those thoughts too. But I'm like, I always have to think when I'm on a party boat, or when I'm on, a private boat, is that could be that guy's fish of a lifetime. So I have had thoughts where I'm like, fuck that guy. But then I've had thoughts too where I'm like, dude, I fucking already have 2 of them in the fish hold. I don't give a fuck if that guy takes 3 hours.
Fuck that
Am
guy.
I still kind of irritated? Yeah. I'm like, fuck him.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah. But at the same time, when it's somebody that I know and they've landed that fish, like, you can never take that feeling away from them. Like, how
No, if it's someone you know, yeah.
fucking
Someone I don't
they
know,
are.
fuck that guy. It's probably some dude with a spinning setup that's fishing backwards like this and has
Isn't
it
it
up top.
always that way?
Come on, bro.
It's always that way. Why is it always the coffee grinder guy?
And I love coffee grinders. I use them, but every time I don't use them, and I come out there with
there's a time and a place. I think my second year of when I first started fishing for bluefin aggressively, I was on a day and a half boat and it was a really fucking good night bite. Like, we showed up and it's screen filler. And the captain said, get whatever you can down to 150 feet.
Just let it marinate.
Right now.
Yeah.
Drop it, and you're going to feel like you hit bottom. We're in 500, 700 feet of water. No, you know what? I take that back. At that time, we were in about 2,000 feet of water. So you're not going to hit bottom, but you damn well feel like you're going to hit bottom, right? So I think 2-3 people were hooked up at the time, and I came out, and 3 days prior to that, I was told by one of my buddies, hey, you need to rig up your rig like this and, you know, get all your hooks on this 200-gram flat fall fucking bullshit. And it looked like a chandelier. It looked like a dying Christmas tree.
Right.
You know, that was
I've seen some,
tied to a piece of metal. And so I'm like, oh, this is pretty interesting. And so I took it, an extra, like, and I've always looked at things like, hey, you know what? Somebody's setting up this gear. Oh, I can do that. Like, this is only going to cost me $6 as opposed to buying a pre-rig for $25. Oh, I could do that. So I go get the shit and I'd hook up, and I made my own rig, like literally crimping and getting the crimpers, getting the equipment, figuring out how long my leaders are, how am I going to connect these swivels to my jig, blah, blah, blah. So I hooked up all my shit. So I made my second drop, and all of a sudden I'm just like hearing the captain just go, and you can hear it go, you know what I mean?
As he's talking,
like as he's talking,
you can hear it through the speaker.
loudspeaker.
Yeah, you can hear it.
And I'm like, oh my God, they're all underneath the boat. Like, and he just goes 120 feet, get down to 120 feet.
So they're coming up.
They're coming up.
Right.
He's like, we're marking 180 all the way
shit
up
out
to
of the water.
120
They're
feet.
fucking chucking.
No, and at that point it was at night. So they don't have to bait.
Oh, shit.
He was like, just get whatever you can down in the water. And so as soon as he said that, I was just like, all right. And I'm dropping the shit. This is before I started to put, permanent marker indicators on my white braid.
We do it like every 100 foot or something.
Now I do it every 100 foot. Like, I make a mark.
Right.
And then when I get to 200 feet, I make another mark.
So it's so much easier.
So I
to
know
right.
where I'm at and where I'm supposed to be, and if depending on if we're on a drift, and how much line that I have to put out. So I'm dropping down, and this is before I had any indication, and I'm like, oh, I'm at about a quarter of my spool. So I think at the time I didn't know, so I was like, oh, I'm probably at about like 150, 160 feet, and I just went click, and as soon as I went click, and I did one crank, it was just instant. And I was bit.
Damn.
And I had already seen somebody land about a 250 pounder maybe 5 minutes before that.
Okay.
And I'm like, I had already had my 100-pounder. I went out on that trip with the mentality I want a fish over 200 pounds. And as soon as I was bent, I was just like, all right. And
you can feel.
Oh, it's 100%. Right when I was bit and I just cranked down, I just went from strike. I went about 2 or 3 more clicks, and I was still 3 clicks away from full. So I was at probably 37, 38 pounds of drag at that point.
And this dude just yanking.
And he's ripping line out of my spool. And I'm going, okay, I'm gonna let him go
what
for a little
gear?
while.
What gear did you have?
This was a Tiagra 16 on a Seeker 7660. Like, yeah, it was set up to kill. I can kill probably a super cow on that rod stick or that full setup gear. And I just remember looking at a guy that just took an hour and 45 minutes to kill that fish that he just brought up 3 minutes ago. That was about a 250 pounder. And I'm like, do I really want to fight this fish for 2.5 hours? No.
Right.
No. I had already subdued 100. It was about 120 pound fish at Tanner Bank about 3 months prior to that, on my own boat. And I had hooked that on a what was that? That was a Torium. No, it was a Trinidad 16A on a 7-foot Terramar. And I killed that in about 45 minutes. It's about a little bit over 100 pounds on a soaked squid, about 150 feet down.
How exhausted are you after battling one of those big tuna? Like, what's the exhaustion like?
Like you're gassed. Like you're gassed. Just
like arms hanging down. Like, dude, I'm done.
Yeah. No, not at first. At first, you're just like, it's all just
seeing it on the deck.
It's blood. You know, your heart pumping, your lungs are breathing, the whole thing through your body. You're just like you feel like fucking Thor.
Gotcha.
Like just going through your vein. You're like, oh my God, this is fucking rad. You know what I mean? And so fast forward to that same trip, and I had that thing up, and I remember that because it was a fucking, bluefin or bust trip, I had my GoPro, and I had it on my chest, and I was recording the whole thing, and I had the whole hookup, and I was on the Thunderbird, and Jeff, being, he was the fucking bluefin killer basically of like up here in Orange County area, if you want to call it, versus down in San Diego. And I remember when I hooked up, and only would I have known that I killed that fish in less than 18 minutes. I wouldn't have known that because you're in the moment, you're like thinking about like while you're actually fucking fighting this fish. And I had it hooked in the starboard side, like towards the middle of the boat, and I had done one circle around the bow to the stern, and the guys fucking gaffed it at the stern of the boat 18 minutes after.
Wow.
And Jeff walks up, and he's got the fucking gaff in his hand, and he's like, wait, weren't you just hooked up a minute ago? I go, yeah. I don't know, like maybe 15, 20 minutes ago. And he's like, fuck. So it took 4 guys to get this fish up. I had the biggest fish, 287 pounds, on the boat, and killed it in less than 18 minutes. Didn't realize until I went back on the footage, and I'm watching this fucking thing just going, did I just really kill almost a 300-pound fish in less than 18 minutes?
That's crazy.
Sure enough shit.
That's crazy.
That fish had me.
That's crazy.
From that day, I was like, now I want 300.
Right.
And then it just perpetually, it was just like, the norm was 200 to 250 pounds,
right?
180, 270, like kept, bouncing back and forth between those. And which brought me to the day where I put a 385-pound fish on the boat in less than 55 minutes.
That's insane.
Yeah.
How much meat, like takeaway meat after processing is a 380 pound fish? Like what are you taking from that?
Typical yield is there's a lot of different variations, but typical yield of what you get is about 40%.
Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of that weight's lost by, blood, the gut, gills, guts, and obviously the carcass.
Gotcha. And then you got your commercial license too, so you're able to catch and keep or catch and sell if you want.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
Is it like when you see on TV with Wicked Tuna, how you go up to the dock, you back up, and there's somebody there, and you're like, "Hey, Frank," and they're like, "Hey, Kawika," and no, I'm just kidding, Kawika, and and then
and that's how the Hallies would say it. Hey, Kawika.
Hey, Kawika.
No,
because when you see it on paper, there's a W. There's no V.
100%.
It's a W.
It's a W. Yeah.
When I first met you, and you were like, "My name's Kawika," and then I got your business.
You're like,
card.
"No, it isn't."
I'm like, "Bro, did they typo that shit? Like, do you know there's a W, right? Like, I think they fucked up, man. The fuck? Hey, hand me this fucked up shit." But when you do you go back up to a dock or something? Guy comes down, they lower it, you load the fish out, and then they weigh it.
There's a couple of different ways. One of them is I have a wholesaler that meets me at the boat, picks up the fish. Obviously, when we commercial fish them, we do what's called ikejima. So ikejima is, not only a humane way to kill a bluefin, but it's also you get the best quality out of the bluefin. And that process is when we're fighting a fish, obviously the shortest amount of time that you can kill that fish, the better, because it's what is it? Not the metabolism, but anyway, I forget what the terminology is, but anyway, so we bring the fish up. We subdue the fish by either gaffing it or by lassoing the tail. Obviously, by gaffing it, your success rate's going to be a lot higher than when that fish comes up hot. Get it in the head as fast as you can. Get that gaff in there. Get the gaff just wrapping around the tail and get the tail rope on as soon as possible, so that you can basically say, okay, that fish is done. We've got it.
Right.
Then we let it swim in the water for a little bit, so that if you're working out and you get your blood pumping and you got all this I forget what the terminology is, but I forget what it's called. Anyway, when you're working out, your blood's like pumping through your entire body, so then lactic acid. Yes. Okay. So we're lowering lactic acid by letting that fish swim
Cool down
for like 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how long you fought it and depending on how big the fish is. And then after that, you're shutting it down by spiking it in the brain, shutting its brain down, and then bringing that fish onto the boat. So then get the fish on the boat. I put a cable down its spine so it shuts down all of the nerves that are going to the fish, which then relaxes the meat. Then I gill it, gut it. Oh, I forgot bleeding it. So we usually bleed it outside the boat. So that's the first thing. We swim it, and then once it's cooled down, then we spike it, shut it down, bleed it, bring it on the boat, gill, gut it, and stick it on ice. So each one of the fish, every time we go out, and to this day, my buddy fucking Jimmy always gives me shit. Like, what do we got? 600 pounds of ice this time again?
Right.
Because he's looking at obviously weight on the boat, less gas mileage or worse gas mileage that you get.
Right.
But it comes in handy when you are, plugging 4 and 5, 200, give or take, bluefin that are going to go on the boat, because you're going to get the optimum amount of fish from that.
Right.
The quality level just goes exponentially. So we're putting roughly 100 to 120 pounds of ice in and around each fish that we bring on board.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yep. It's all about getting that temperature down so that we can deliver the highest quality fish when it comes to either when my distributors either pick up the fish or literally loading it into my truck in keel bags, flexible keel bags, and taking it and distributing it to whoever it is that is purchasing that fish.
Do they do like, how they stick the thing in, do the meat, the color, and all that stuff? Check the fat?
Local, no, because most of the quality level is, if they already know and they have a relationship with you that you do it basically the way that I had explained.
Right.
They already know, because I've told them what process that I go through to get the quality level that they ultimately are paying more for.
Okay.
And so the ones that are bigger, such as that 385, that got sent to Japan.
Oh, shit.
So when it arrives in Japan, they do, the quality test with the whole, like what you see on Wicked Tuna. They take a sample, a core sample, and then they, put it all out on their pallet and go, okay, this is the quality level, and this is where your price per pound is going to be.
Now, do you have to wait till it gets over there to get what, or do they already offer it to you and pay you over here? Like, how does that work?
Mostly the wholesaler or whoever is selling it to their buyer, they're already doing that core test here prior to when it gets shipped out, so that they can at least, now depending on whether or not you're selling it to, a private buyer that is already has a relationship with the wholesaler, or you're doing it on an auction where you can make a lot more money on that auction.
Gotcha.
At least the person that is going to be taking that fish in to put it like on the market to sell for auction, he's doing that core sample just to see where that quality level is prior to when it gets shipped out.
Gotcha.
Because when we're shipping these out, they're going in, a big, very much focused like box to put this fish in. So it's all made so that it, gets there at its freshest level.
Gotcha.
Then once it gets there, then they do the core sample again there, and then it gets sold, through auction. And you're talking, it can get pretty high dollars.
So you have to wait to get paid.
Yeah.
Gotcha. You're not getting paid right there.
No.
On Wicked Tuna, do they get paid right then and there, or do they have to wait too?
I don't know how that all works with Wicked Tuna. I think because they already have a buyer and they can already core sample it right there when they're unloading. They show you the part where obviously it's fast forwarded to where it comes off the boat, and I'm sure it's like 3 hours later by the time they core sample it. I think they get paid right then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they have a relationship with them, and they're killing so many of those fucking things. So
okay, but you got to wait till it ships, gets auctioned off.
Yep.
Best dollar, and then they're like, okay, here's your check, direct deposit.
Yep.
However you choose to get paid.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool though.
Yeah, it is cool.
Because you can go out, go fishing, come back, sell a couple tuna, keep a couple tuna, and now you just broke even, and now you got all this tuna to go eat.
Yep. Yeah. When I typically go out on any one of those trips, I would say 70% of the time where what I call harvesting is I'm filleting that fish, and then the rest of the fish, go to a distributor, go to a wholesaler.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're selling.
So we couldn't take my boat out. Me and you couldn't go out on my boat, go fishing for tuna, and then sell them.
Not unless your boat was registered commercial and you had a commercial fishing license.
I would have to.
Yeah. Like, people have this persona that it makes all this fucking money. The fuel costs, the boat costs.
Well, they don't factor your
all
time.
The overhead.
Your time.
Time.
If you factor in your hourly wage, right? And a lot of people don't think that. It's just cost. Boat payment, maintenance, insurance.
Just the hourly wage.
Gear.
Before you even get on the boat. You know how many
hourly
you know how many hours I spend prepping
That's what I'm saying.
Go on these trips?
That's
hours,
what I'm saying.
Countless hours.
So now add a value to that hour, and now this is how much it costs.
No. If that value got placed on a bluefin that's normally local caught at about $5 to $6 a pound, if that value was really what time that it takes to go to catch that same fish, it would probably be $35-$40
right
a pound.
A pound.
Yeah, 100%.
You couldn't afford
No.
to buy it.
No. 100% here, commercial fishing, because it's all like single hook and line. It's not netting. Like, this is not thousands of pounds and thousands of tons of fishing that you're catching. This is literally like, one at a time. And the most that I think I've ever heard anybody come back with was 12 bluefin in one trip. A commercial fisherman.
What's your biggest?
They're all 200 pounders.
What's your best haul, like pound wise? Like what's your best dollar?
I think, God, besides the 385 was once. Obviously, I took my share from the boat captain. Obviously, he gets the biggest share. It's his boat. It's his investment. Blah blah blah. I'd say individually, I got $9 a pound for a 200, and this is 200 yielded. So after I gutted, bled, it was probably 250, 240 or 250. And after it was bled, gilled, and gutted, it came to about 200 pounds, and I got about $9 a pound for that.
Nice.
So that was a good payday, but in reality, again, the amount of time that I took to do all of that, and it's not over. When I actually bring the fish back to the dock, it doesn't end there. Now I have to unload it. Now I have to put it in my car. Now I have to ice on it. So I have to go to nearest, Smart and Final, Costco, whatever. Now I got to put ice on it. Now I got to contact whoever it is that I'm, distributing it to, whether or not they're picking up or I'm taking it there. Most of the time when I was getting that, higher dollar amount per pound, I was actually driving it there.
Okay.
So now you take on, wear and tear,
Right.
gas, my time, some of those people that were purchasing the fish, I would have to drive 2 hours to go deliver a fish. Hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah. So the big haul is not every trip.
No.
How many times have you skunked? Or should I say, how many times have you gone out and not caught anything? That's what skunked means. I
would say this year was really tough for us. I think a lot of our bluefin were not focused on flying fish this year, which is really weird. They were really focused on microbait and squid and all that shit. So it made it very difficult for us this year. And then, of course, that whole fucking Mad Max shit came about, and everybody's pulling their shit around at 17 knots and tying each other up.
Yeah.
Fucking mayhem. Was I one of those ones that were like, oh, I want to get my fucking hands on one of those things? Yeah, it wasn't just one. Yeah, I bought 12. Yeah. I think the highest, and it's funny too, because the highest dollar amount that somebody charged for one of those Mad Max that, you could have gotten them 2 years ago for like 45 or $50.
You buy them right now.
Buy them right now. Yeah.
$50.
No, there's people selling them for 200.
No, what I'm saying, they're in stock now. They're
I know.
You're $40-$50 right now.
Yeah.
If you go on offer up, yeah, there's still guys that think they can sell them for
$200-$300
top dollar. But it's like toilet paper when the pandemic hit and everyone was selling fucking a thing of toilet paper for $300. It's like,
now,
what?
Did I actually catch a lot of bluefin on those things? Yeah.
They work.
They do work.
Have you seen Duran's?
And they're pretty fucking insane. Like
Alumimac?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. They look very
that thing looks badass.
Well, yeah, very well done.
Custom colors.
Yep. But when Nomad caught wind,
he had to change his design.
He had to change it up.
Yeah.
Because Nomad, that's a big company, and they were making a shit ton of money. No, and it was like, you realize, okay, it's time to bow down.
He posted like, hey, I'm gonna make a change real quick. Like,
right then, like I think it was literally within hours from the time that he got that notice. And when he redesigned it, he intelligently put time into it. And it works.
Made it better.
Yeah, it made it way better.
Right.
Yeah, and from what I've seen, his R&D on it, he did a really good job.
Right.
It made what was going to be, I think this next year is going to be something that a lot of guys are going to turn to, or maybe not. You know what I mean? Like they may go, oh, I'm going to spend $50, but I have the possibility of the thing breaking or scratching or whatever. But at that point, people have to look at levels of quality.
Right.
Are you going to spend? I think he sells them. What are they?
A couple $100.
They're like 150 or $200. I
think like $200.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't have them because I had already bought
1,800,
12 fucking Mad Max, like literally, and still have 5 of them. You know what I mean? Because of course,
it's like 3 240 millimeter.
You have friends that are like, "Hey, bro, do you got any of those Mad Max?" And I'm like, "Hey, I got you, bro.
Right,
I got you." And so my 12 turned into 6 that I now have.
Right.
I think I've got maybe I got 5 left, but anyway, yeah, that totally changed the game. Amount of skunks that I had in 2019. I would say probably 20% of the time. 0, nothing. They hurt. Those ones really hurt.
Right.
Yeah, you're leaving 3-4 o'clock in the morning.
That's
you're not getting home until sometimes 3-4 o'clock in the morning the following day.
Right.
That's a 24-hour.
A full
on the boat.
day.
Your feet touch the boat, on a 25, 30-foot boat, and your feet do not come off that boat for 24 hours.
Right.
A lot of those trips were like that. Some of the trips we went on and, it's a 4-hour ride out there, and we got it done within 2 or 3 hours and came back to the dock after only a maybe 10 to 12-hour trip. Very rare.
And a lot of people don't understand bluefin, how you can see, and they call it a foamer. They have breezers where the fish are breaching water and it looks like a washing machine out there and stuff.
Yeah.
People don't understand when those fish hear the noise of the boat that they're so smart that they literally are like, we know what's coming.
Yep.
We're out.
Yeah.
And as soon as you come up and toss your line, the water just goes calm.
Yep.
And then the captain's like, bring him in. We got to go find him again.
Yeah. A lot of the times that did happen.
Frustrating.
Yeah, it is. It's very frustrating. I think this year we had more moments where the fish would they would die out, they would go down, and you wouldn't see them on the surface. I would say 70% of the time, if you got more than about 50 yards away, like 50 yards close to them, they would just go and they would scatter out and you wouldn't see anything. As long as you kept that like 75 to 100 yards distance away from them,
Mm-hmm.
and you use the methods that, obviously everybody, are posting about and talking about to be able to wrap around them. And they were using, spreader bars or Mad Max. They were getting them.
Right.
They were getting them as long as they were
Stayed
implementing
ahead.
that method.
Right.
Yeah. Because bluefin, not only are they smart, but their sense of sound is insane. It's pretty crazy. Yeah. But we had a lot of good moments this year where we saw those foaming fish that were in the 50 all the way up to 200-pound class.
Close.
Foaming.
Like within, you could see them off the pier almost. Close.
300 yards off the beach.
That's what I'm saying. Close,
Yeah.
close.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty insane this year. A lot of the fish were spread out this year, and people were catching them anywhere between
Look at that rod,
300. Oh, gives me a hard on. Yeah.
What does fishing do
I have
to
a
you?
problem.
What does it do to you mentally? Is it a problem solver for things that go on upstairs?
It's an immediate happy place. Like, as soon as, not only just prepping for it and talking about it alone, I've found myself a lot of the times in the last couple of years where I'm like, fuck, how do I get out of work, or how do I get out of doing something else that I want to, like, go fishing? You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's as soon as my feet like touch that boat and I'm starting to go offshore, it's like happy Kawika.
What do you think it is? Is it just getting away from this, the walls, stop signs, the roadblocks, the people getting out into this? I mean, if you look at that, as far as you can see, there's literally nothing.
Yep.
It's just water.
Yep.
I mean, if no one's ever experienced that before, you can't put into words what that feels like to just look as far as you can.
Yeah.
And literally, like, I've driven the boat sometimes, like, I'm not even driving it. I'm fucking tying baits and shit. The boat's going.
Yep.
Because you don't have to. There's so much real estate out there.
Right.
And
No.
you have to worry about nothing.
I think the moment that I have anything that I'm thinking about, or anything that is responsibilities, stress, whatever's going on, as soon as I get about 20 miles offshore, it's like a lift. Like, wow, fuck. And it's every single time. Every time.
See, mine's as soon as we
Same
leave
thing.
the bait barge. As soon as I get that past me, I'm like, oh, dude, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, now that
No. It's still, and I still get that same feeling, but the feeling of just like,
that triple nut,
oh,
that triple
when
home run.
I'm
at bat.
offshore and I start not seeing land, that's
Yeah.
where I'm like, yeah, baby, it's game on. Like I know what's about to happen. That's really the biggest thing. It's that offshore feeling. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's that unknown of like, what's gonna happen today?
And you think you're on a big boat because you're like, you know, you got 30, 40 dudes on there or something, 20 dudes depending on the size. But you don't realize how fucking small you are.
Yeah.
Like, you don't realize, like, holy fuck. Like, as far as I can see, there's no land.
Yeah.
Literally. And I am a speck.
Yeah.
Like, I guarantee if there was a plane flying by, they wouldn't even see us.
Yeah.
That's how small you are out there.
Oh, yeah.
And it's crazy. It's crazy to think, like, fuck, dude, we're in 2,000 feet of water. What the fuck is down there?
Yep.
You can't tell me there's nothing bigger that's not bigger than this boat. Like,
oh, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
And you know damn well that there is.
Right.
And you're like, you know that you're the smallest denominator that's out there. That's what's fucking cool. Because I've seen some pretty crazy shit out on the ocean, like literally driving up and seeing a probably 800 to 900 pound seal literally cut in half. And the only thing that's left is it's from middle to the tip of his head, literally floating underwater, and blood just everywhere. And you know, a fucking massive great white just literally bit half this thing off.
And it's
less
not gone
than 10
yet.
minutes ago.
It's not gone yet.
No, less than 10 minutes
Right.
ago. Like literally, you're driving up and there's
Right.
blood trail just
Right.
smearing 50 yards away from the seal, and you're like, holy shit.
There's some shit coming too, because I found a baby dolphin once, or a newborn.
Oh,
dead.
oh shit.
Yeah, I was like, what is that? So we drove over there, and I picked it up,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, I don't know what to do. So I was like pushing on its like fucking chest and shit, and then I just put it back in the water, and someone put it in gear, and I was trying to like hold it and just run water through it, and next thing I know, you could hear the dolphin noise. You could, how they talk or whatever. And next thing you know, I assume it was the mom, popped up like probably 5 feet from me and was just swimming with us. And I'm like trying. Then I torpedoed it down in the water and we started driving off, and you're looking and it's not moving. And then the dolphin was swimming around it. That had to be the mom. And that was it. Then we drove off. It was crazy though. It was wild. That was a cool experience, because there's so much you can experience out there that people don't realize.
Yeah.
There's so much crazy shit that happens.
Wait, so did you get in the water, or you were
No,
just
no,
on the boat?
I was on the
like,
boat.
oh,
Yeah. No,
okay.
I didn't get in the water. No, I just leaned over, and it was on my boat, so I have about 2 feet where I have to lean over, and
Right.
we just put it in gear, and I tried to run water through it, and I don't know what the fuck to do on.
Trip out.
I just felt like I couldn't.
Did it have any
leave.
injuries, like
No,
shark bit
nothing.
or anything?
No marks, no nothing.
Trippy.
No marks, no nothing.
I that's something I haven't encountered. I've never encountered a dolphin, no matter what age, and never encountered a.
I thought it was wild.
Injured or whatever.
It was on a veterans trip. Yeah, I didn't post it.
Yeah,
because I didn't know. I'm not trying to have someone from fucking PETA or wherever they're, the people are that are like, oh my god, like,
right.
Here I am trying to do a good thing, or
Yeah.
is there a law that says that I,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, dude? I was like,
Yeah.
So me talking about it you can't prove shit, so fuck off. You
Right,
know?
right.
But then I was like, I'm not posting any videos.
Right.
Like, that's like posting a video if you catch a Garibaldi, like, hey, look what I caught.
Yeah.
Fuck off, dude. Like, you can catch them,
Right.
You can.
Oh yeah, as long as you put them back.
But
yeah,
I'm not
if
taking
they're
it-
by accident.
I'm
yeah.
not taking a picture with it.
Right.
Like,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was weird, but it was a cool experience. Or like the molas, you go out there and you see molas everywhere.
Yep.
And people are so like, oh my god, like I used to love going out there just for the mere fact of people don't get to do that every day.
Right.
Like we take it kind of for granted in a sense, like
Oh yeah.
in a sense, because I didn't, but you still do,
Yeah.
because you get to go so much. You have all the gear, the knowledge. So you're,
It's like seeing porpoise.
yeah, like
So you and me, it's like, oh, there's porpoise again.
yeah. Oh look,
Other
there's
people
a-
are like, oh my
right,
god.
swimming in front of the boat, and they're
Yeah.
hanging over like videotaping, and then it's like, oh yeah, look, that's cool, isn't it?
It's still cool. Like, I mean,
Right.
to this day, I still, when we run through a pod of porpoise, and there's a lot of them, and the water's super clear, and
And
the
you can
weather's
watch 'em.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm like, literally, I'm a fucking kid on the bow taking a video, just going like, what am I doing right now?
See, I don't do that anymore.
You know why I do it?
I love the other people watching the other people get excited.
Totally.
That's my like, fuck yeah.
Yeah. You know why I do it now? More or less, I do it so that other people can experience that, because they're not on the ocean. Like, for instance, my daughter. I know that she'd be super stoked to see like dolphin that we're doing 25 miles an hour and they're jumping in front of the boat and there's thousands of them around the whole entire boat.
Right.
Like, I want her to be able to experience seeing that, even though, yeah, I can jump on the boat, and show her, like, actually go out. And I have taken her out. She was like, "Oh, this is so cool!" Like, you know what I mean? So I'm like, "Oh yeah."
Kids get stoked.
And that's really the biggest thing for me is like I want to be able to. More or less of why I do that is so that other people can experience it by seeing it when you post it, because social media, it's instant. You know what I mean? So same thing, like when we see whales. Like, I saw a sperm whale a couple weeks ago that I posted, and I've never seen a sperm whale in our ocean. Like, we're leaving out of Marina del Rey. We're maybe 2 hours outside the harbor, and we're just like, oh my God, this is so cool.
What's the loudest animal on Earth?
Ocean, land, does it really matter?
What's the loudest animal on Earth?
I'd have to say lions. No?
You just said it.
Humans. Oh, dolphin. What?
You just saw it.
Sperm whale? Really?
It's the loudest.
No shit.
Swear to God. Yep.
Now, what's the scale that they use in saying that's
decibels under, like reading the fucking frequency of it underwater? Like, you can still read decibels. Like, it's the loudest animal on Earth.
Okay, now you're making me think. I wish I would have jumped in the water just to hear it.
I haven't researched this part, but I've heard stories of people of if you're in the water and it does let out, its noise or whatever, it could fracture or rupture your eardrum.
No shit.
Yeah. I don't know how true that is yet, so don't quote me on it or nothing. I'm gonna research that.
Yeah.
But I just actually learned this like the other day.
Huh.
Yeah, it's the sperm whale. Crazy.
No shit.
Yeah. I was thinking too, like, rawr, like, fuck, dude, like, who's the fucking loudest? I don't know.
Right.
No, sperm whale. Crazy.
Trip out.
Yep.
Well, and the ocean, obviously, like, sound travels.
Right.
And it multiplies. So that makes sense. Like, that makes sense.
So all your time on the water, you're out there, perfecting this craft, right? You're doing everything you can.
Yep.
Did you ever notice that something might be missing from the fishing scene? As far as like gear wise, like tackle, like, is there something that could help you?
Oh, I see where you're going.
Yeah. Make life easier.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you describe to us, using that guy right there, and show us what you got.
All right. So, pretty simple system. I developed basically a hook and loop strap. This is what comes out of the package, and straight out of the package, it's a D-ring, and this is Delrin plastic, which is very, very strong. I use the highest quality that I can find product that is not gonna get brittle. It's not gonna break. You're not gonna have issues down the line. I went to like really good quality material, and I also implemented this rubber backing hook and loop strap, which when it's attached to, no matter what it is, whether it's foam, it's Hypalon, it's cork, it was going to stay where it's meant to go.
Right.
Like, once it's in place, it's not going to go anywhere unless you go to unstrap it. What I basically engineered when I got to all the different prototypes is I wanted this to be a very, like, I wanted it to be one of those bonuses where you're just like, you would catch people and they'd just go, "What? Are you serious right now?"
Right.
And every time that I would show them that the fishing line goes through this V channel, this engineered V channel, and I just had this idea. I'm like, okay, I'm going to make a V channel with an O-ring. And it's basically like a cinching system that goes, into the part itself. you cinch that line down just by wrapping it over and pulling it, and it sucks into that. And the O-ring, obviously, being is that it's a nitrile material. It's also sun and saltwater resistant material.
Nice.
So that won't break down as well. I mean, over the course of probably, years and years and years, just like anything else, salt water in the sun, it's our worst enemy.
And how many colors do you have?
In the standard, we have 7 colors.
And where can people find those at?
They can either go online, catchfishingproducts.com, and it's spelled with a K. Or they can purchase them through some of our select retailers and soon to come Amazon.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna do an Amazon, huh?
Yes, sir.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And little plug is also getting into it is we're gonna be doing a promo code for Dixie Wrecked.
Ooh.
Yes, sir. DW20.
DW20. You hear that? DW20.
DW20 for 20% off.
What happens with that?
Okay, so I'm setting up online. So for some of our select collaborators and ambassadors to get the product out there, get it more well known, they can go online. If they enter in the code DW20, they get 20% off, and those proceeds will go towards Dixie Wrecked and veterans trips.
You hear that?
Yeah.
You get 20% off. You do. The 20% that you get off, he's donating to us so we can do veteran trips.
Yes, sir. Yep.
I appreciate that, bro.
Hey, it's all about the love.
Every
brother.
little bit helps, man.
It's all about the love.
I appreciate that.
I remember the day that I met you at Fred Hall.
Yeah.
What was that? 3 years ago? Was it almost 4 years ago?
Almost 4 years ago.
Yeah, 4 years ago. And the instant that you told me, the whole backstory
Hadn't even
of
started
why
yet.
you even were doing what you started to do.
Yeah.
I told you right from the get-go, I'm in.
Right.
I'm in. Not only just the fact how you presented yourself and what it is that you were getting involved with, it really hit home for me because obviously my dad being a Marine and being a veteran, I was just anytime that I can get involved with the community of people that are doing this, similar to what you're doing, but what really caught my attention was how you presented yourself and how you are as a true person and how you were with your family. Your family got me.
My daughter probably sold it.
Yeah.
The youngest.
Yeah, she had me a hello. That smile.
Right.
Woo,
Right.
boy. But you know what? Jaden, though, he's got a good head on his shoulders. I can see that, you definitely have influenced a way that I think he's going down a road that you should be proud of.
Yeah, I hope so too. I think with society nowadays, I think it's really hard as a parent to not have to keep a firm grasp on control wise and let them still be a kid and experience things, but at the same time keep control so they don't fall into that fucking cesspool of shit.
Yeah.
And, hopefully become a productive adult. So that's what I'm trying. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. And I think that, as long as somebody's following whatever their passion, their dream, what they want to do, to a certain extent.
Right.
And it's going to result in what will result in being positive, whether
Right.
it's whatever it is that they choose to do. As long as you're happy doing it, it's never a one day of work.
Well, I hope for the last, God, how long have I've been doing this now for 3 years.
Yep.
Going on 4. And so I hope I've stayed true to my word since we first met when I talked about this.
Yeah.
Of what I wanted to do.
I don't think it's really, I think it's superseded that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I
would
think
say,
that you were going to be in this environment,
Right.
in that period of time? not that I didn't expect it. I just didn't know it was going to be, at what you're doing. Like right now, this is awesome. Like you're reaching out to the community and you're literally like making people like realize what is important. Like what things that we do need to talk about. Not even just business.
Right.
Not even just, hey, how are you doing? You're getting down to the nitty-gritty about like what makes this person do what they're doing. Like that's commendable. It's awesome.
It's trying to make a difference, man.
You should. More people should be doing this. Seriously. It really does. Like it definitely makes people relate in reality to who they are.
Right.
Like, oh, I guess I'm not that fucked up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like, damn, that dude is really fucked up.
You know what I'm saying? Or like, you know what? That guy, like he had this challenge. He had an obstacle.
Right.
And he's getting, he's going through that obstacle and he's really feeding into the journey and, realizing what is going on around him. And I'm not talking about myself. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the people that you're building that community with.
Right.
That people can relate to that.
And I feel like I'm just getting started. That's what's cool. I love the fact that I feel like I haven't even touched it yet.
No.
You know what I mean?
No, you haven't.
Like haven't even touched it yet.
Nope.
Well, what would you say to someone right now in a marriage that is going through something similar to what you went through, that is undecided, or how do I go through this? What do I do? Scared of the next, chapter of being alone, starting over, etc. But they're totally fucking unhappy. What would you say to them?
I think if you take what other people might think is the right thing to do, ultimately, if you really just stop and think about how it's going to affect yourself and others that don't really have a choice, if you make at least an educated decision and look at what that is, you'll make the right decision. And I'm not going to tell one person over the other that they should stick it through and the other person should say, fucking bail out because that's what's going to be the best for you. It's about really evaluating where you are and whether that person in reality makes you happy. I think we have a job to do when it comes to relationships. Like 100% gear switch is, it's funny because us as guys,
Mm-hmm.
we don't fucking like to communicate. We hate communication.
That's the biggest thing.
Fuck, I have to talk to you?
Right.
Like even with guys, hanging out with guys, most of the time.
How's your day? What do you fucking mean, how's my day? How do you think my day went?
Right. We can sit on a fucking boat and just be the two of us
right.
for 3-4 hours and not say a word.
What'd you guys talk about?
And we know what the fuck that we are thinking.
I didn't even know he was on the boat.
Yeah.
Shit.
I saw all the fish and the blood all over the place,
right.
but yeah.
Right.
I
think we can communicate as guys.
Yeah.
Guy to guy, no problem.
100%.
I can sit here and tell you.
Not all guys. I have a
okay,
very select few of guys that I can completely be open and say anything to. And I know that they're not going to judge me for what it is that I tell them. They're only either going to listen and or only listen or also give advice. So I only tell those people because I don't feel comfortable enough to tell fucking everybody, and nor should they know everything that I'm thinking about.
I would eliminate them from my circle.
I usually do.
They're gone.
Yeah.
At this point in my life, it's
No,
crazy.
I mean, it's everybody has different paths in their lives. They have a different journey, whatever that is. And maybe it's just, maybe they see their relationship with that other person maybe not being how they want it to be. So they back away from it. You never know.
Would you say that your gut?
I think
told you?
if I lose a friend because of some situation, and regardless of whether I reached out or not, if they chose not to include themselves or have me included in their journey, I think I've come to the realization that that's meant to be that way.
Do you
Like,
think you lost a
go
lot of
fuck
good
yourself.
friends because of?
Oh, I know I did. I absolutely know I did. I know I have by some of the actions that I have done, what I have said, or the way that I went about things.
Right.
But it was just not meant to be.
Right.
It just happened that way, and that's just the way that it's supposed to be. That's part of the journey. You know, if they're in my life, there's a reason why that they're either there or they're not. That's what it all boils down to.
That's
any relationship, though.
That was Kawika, and now
It's Kawika, motherfucker.
now this is Kawika. The old you was Kawika.
Yeah.
This is Kawika.
Yeah.
I like Kawika.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah.
Me too.
Glad I met Kawika.
Me too.
Yeah, I still remember when I walked, because that Fred Hall, this was just a thought,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to see if anybody else was doing it, and so I was like, let's go to Fred Hall. It's the biggest fucking thing out here.
Yeah.
Let's go check it out. So I knew nobody.
Right.
Walked around and I was just talking to people. This is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
This is what I'm thinking about doing.
Yeah.
You wanna? I knew of nothing of what I was doing. Like I had no fucking clue.
Well, I'll say this. Some people, they fake it till they make it,
I faked it.
and you're making it.
I faked it a lot.
Yeah.
Dude, my first fishing
But you know
trip.
what though? That's. I mean, in reality, that's sometimes the way that you go about things.
That's the only way I know how to do it.
How you learn? Just fucking go after it.
Just do it.
And like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I had no idea what the fuck that I was doing, even getting into fishing. You know,
Right.
I wouldn't even be sitting here in front of you. I would have never met you if. Let me rephrase that. The chances of me meeting you and us becoming friends probably wouldn't have came unless I was introduced into the fishing industry and I had a pivotal moment that said, oh, I want to do this.
Right.
Because this is basically what brought me to putting a booth at Fred Hall.
Right.
Where I was going to be able to get the product out to, thousands of people within a 4 to 5 day period of time. And I'm like, all right, let's go. I'd have never thought. So thank God that I even came up with this that now puts me, here we are.
Where I walk by with my family and see two brothers flinging lures out going, hey, whoosh, look at this. Whoosh.
Yeah.
Because you were literally like flinging them out and bringing them back, like hooking them up. Look at this, guys. Check this out. And I was like, oh, what's going on over here? Like some nice looking rods and reels you guys got over here. What the fuck you doing?
Yep.
Yeah, that was cool.
And my first Fred Hall, I faked the fuck out of it. I have had no idea what retail sales was all about.
Right.
I didn't know what trade shows
That's
meant.
a big show.
I didn't know what any of that was.
Right.
I went to the first show, which was Pacific Coast Sports Fishing Show, and I had good exposure in the first 3 days. And I'm like, oh, this is fucking
Which
cool.
is like 15% of what Fred Hall is.
Yeah. Back then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that first show, I think we had something in the lines of about, I don't know, 250 or 300 units over that course of time. So I sold, approximately 100 units a day, which was pretty cool.
That's good.
Considering, but it was really like, unless I was literally in the faces of people, hey, come over here, check it out. Like, cause that's really like how I've always been.
I think this does really well in person.
Yeah.
I think you do best when this fucking thing is being demonstrated
In person, 100%.
in person. The person sees it. Wow, I want it. That's a definite like impulse buy. Like I saw it, I need it, I want it. Give it to me now. Fuck, you have my favorite color. Give me 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shit. Oh, you're having a special. If I buy 3 for, oh my God,
Now I've got to have 6.
you got me.
Yeah.
I think it does really well in person. I think it's harder online. I think because when you demonstrate it, you get your personality as well.
Right.
You got your brother out there like, hey, come on now.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
you know, and just I think that's your element, dude. I think when you
Yeah.
get out there on the floor, it's like, hey.
Yeah. Because it's no different than, getting on a boat,
Right.
whether it's private or a party boat full of 25, 30 people.
Right.
Like, I was all about just like, hey, check this out. See what you think about this. Put this on your rod and let me know what you think. And
if you like it, give me $10
was
at
all
the
that.
end of the
Yeah,
trip.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's what you should
And
have
it
done
tur-
is walk around.
I did.
Hey,
I did three trips just like that. I was like, all right, everybody, come over here. You get a free. It's a catch. They're like, what's that? Oh, it's a hook keeper. Oh, hook keeper. That's cool. And then by the end of the trip, 90% of the
you
people,
got any more?
they were buying them. Oh,
Yeah.
hey, by the way, did you bring any more?
Right.
Yeah, I only brought 120.
So
buy
I'm limited.
five,
I'm
six.
gonna limit you to 10. Okay.
Come on, now I'm a hustler, bro. If they wanted 15, they were gonna get 15.
Right.
You know.
Right. No, that's
I'd
cool.
sell them right then and there.
I loved watching the evolution of it, because I think when I first met you, you were somewhat at your infancy stage as well.
Oh, 100%.
So it's cool to watch, the merch come out. You got the hat.
Yeah. And I only did really the merch was just like, just to get the brand, more exposure of the brand, get people to notice the brand,
Right.
get it more brand awareness
Right.
in short. Because brand awareness is obviously like they start seeing that logo more. They start seeing, different stuff. They're like, oh, and then they see this product
Right.
and they're like, oh shit.
Or you're showing them that, and they're like, oh yeah, it's these guys right here.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
Your other nipple.
Well, I appreciate you coming out, brother. And talking with
Always.
me, going over through some stuff and kind of discussing a little bit about your life and what you've gone through and how you've gotten to this point. I think it's kind of cool to hear different people's, journeys.
Yeah.
And so hopefully hearing your story can help someone else, going through it. And hopefully that it's what, Katch Fishing Products?
Catchfishingproducts.com.
.com. Catch
Yep.
Fishing. I'll put the link up, catchfishingproducts.com. Use DW20. You're going to receive 20% off on your order. That 20% off is going to be donated to us to help with our veterans trips. So I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. I appreciate what you're doing.
I'm
Like,
having fun.
You're having fun, but you're really like you're getting to people that are dealing with like real life like issues, anxiety, depression, you name it. And that's huge. Like if you're not checking in with people like on a regular basis, all of a sudden, you can possibly lose that person that means
Right.
a lot to you.
Right.
Like, and maybe that is their journey, but what you're doing, I think is commendable. It's huge. And
Well, I
you
appreciate that.
should definitely be proud of what you're doing. And I'm sure your family, obviously, you put a trailer in your fucking driveway and you put a ton of money and time into what it is you're doing, your family backs you. And that's what I think is amazing. Like when you have family backing, I go back to my brother. He always shows up to all of our trade shows. He's always there. He's always like getting involved. When you have your family behind you,
Right.
there's no stopping you.
Right.
There's no stopping you.
Right.
And I see this going, really far. And like, I'm really proud of you.
Well, I appreciate it. Likewise,
awesome,
brother.
brother.
I can't wait to see what Catch has in store for next year.
Yeah.
Um,
We want to get involved in a lot of different things, not even just, sales and all this stuff. We've got a lot of things that also we want to introduce into our product line. This is just obviously the flagship product that we can then start, putting money towards introducing those other products into. So the more that obviously that the sales go and where the company goes, the more that I'm going to put right back into it and start adding more of that. And I want to get involved in, our community.
Right.
The fishing and fishing community in itself is so huge that we want to be able to get involved in whatever way, shape, or form that we can. that we can give back to our community in doing so.
Right on. Well, I
So-
can't wait to see what you got, brother.
Yeah.
I appreciate you come out.
Thanks, brother.
Catchfishingproducts.com. Go get yours right now.
Hell yeah.
Shoot!